welcome back to Dat Game. This week I was going to review another sexy video game, but I figure, why not kill 50 birds with one stone? Though, I mean, like, they might attack you picking up the stone, you know what I mean. I get fans telling me all the time about the next video game I should review, and I add it to the list. But there is another list, a list that not many people know about. Mum. We all have that one video game. That video game that's got sex appeal in it, and all your friends come over and you're playing it and they judge you. Don't lie to me, you have a game like that! So I compiled a list of 50 games of shame. Some of these games I have reviewed, some of them I haven't reviewed, and hopefully some of these games will surprise you. So to kick off 2015, this is 50 games of shame.
Bayonetta. This game has it all. The sexiness, the sass, and that swagger walk. Mixing the elements of Devil May Cry into a world where monsters beg at the mercy of this sexy gunslinger, Bayonetta has everything in the perfect mix of gameplay and dat goodness. And when friends see that transformation scene,
feeling of shame wipes over you, but it's all worth it.
X-Blades. This game's cover is a pure example of do your research. Don't get me wrong, it has the looks, but the gameplay? I'd rather stick with Bayonetta. It's a pure impulse buy, and one you may regret when someone pulls it from the shelf. Playboy the Mansion. A sim game where you are the boss of the Playboy bunnies. Yep, people were sold at the idea. The logo itself stands as a testament of an empire built around sex appeal. There is no hiding this game in plain sight, especially with the relationship building of the game. Custom made 3D. The ability to design your own maid? Hell yeah! That is the reaction of otaku boys everywhere. Just don't let anyone outside of that circle find out. It's bad enough you gotta explain the difference between a cartoon and an anime to some people.
Fucking plebs.
Any strip poker game. You know what I'm talking about. The first time you heard that a game of cards could lose a chick's clothes, you were like, "Deal me in, bitch!" We all know how it ends, but our curiosity makes us try them anyway. Classic shame.
I lost.
Vinyl Goddess. Just the title screen alone makes me want to get the shareware version. What's shareware? Well, if you weren't a 90s kid, you're missing out. Either way, if someone found this on your floppy, you would have a lot of explaining to do.
And your floppy would be a hard disk. Huh?
Fear Effect 2. Look at the cover alone. What is this game, and where can I get some of this PlayStation 1 skin-tight bodysuit goodness? About a bunch of sexy operatives named Rain and Hannah. Within moments of it starting brings us to that moment where we turn to our mother and say, we need to go to another room. And you know which scene I'm talking about. The elevator scene. But I'll leave that for a dat moment.
I think we're being watched. Let them.
Mighty Switch Force. Starring the crime-fighting Patricia Wagon, she brings that wagon of a butt in full tow, taking down criminals with ability to take on the law. And in the sequel, she gets her own water hose to make people wet. 'Cause there are fires and shit. Made by the team behind Shantae, how can you go wrong? Leisure Suit Larry's Casino.
Deal me in, bitch!
Tomb Raider games. Look, people take these games the wrong way. Tomb Raider recently getting a reboot took her away from the big-breasted pyramid-shaped bombshell to a new direction. But the name still sticks. When people think of Lara, they still have the thought of that extra baggage she's carrying.
She's changed, Mum, I promise!
Onigiri. An MMORPG that begs the question, does that armor really work? Well, who cares? When your friends aren't on WoW or LoL, you can sneak away to Onigiri for some sexy and free MMORPG goodness. Being able to tour the mythical parts of Japan with some mythical babes, worth the shame in my book. BMX XXX. As much as I hated the outcome of this shallow game, it's another example of a game that would be in most Shady Peeps libraries. The title itself doesn't do a good job hiding it, so you might as well hide this one under your couch. If only you could explain to your friends that there is no sexy factor in this game.
That's kind of like explaining to someone that there were no sex scenes in the Lollipop Chainsaw porno.
Duke Nukem 3D. One of the few games that has a man on the cover, but reveals some sexy aspects in the gameplay. Whether it's rescuing slime girls or stopping by the strippers, this was one of the reasons Duke got his reputation. That and the gun. Danger Girl. Based on the comic series, it's all about secret agent girls, and, well, danger. You could say that this is a sexy version of Charlie's Angels. I mean, come on, have you seen the Charlie's Angels video game? Hyper Dimension Neptuna series. A game where the girls are based off game companies like Sega, Xbox and PlayStation. This is where explaining it to your friends that wouldn't get it is just pointless. Just enjoy the game.
You're gonna be split in two! Watch it, girl! This isn't the place for kindergartners to have recess.
Rihanna Rogue. Ah, the 90s. What a time to be alive, when sexy video games were still the taboo. And considering Rihanna Rogue worked in the industry, it already gave this confusing as fuck game a bad rap in the gaming industry. Not just for the sex appeal, but this game was awful. Alternus, A Tale of Petty Revenge. I don't need to say much on this, just go watch my Let's Play on it here. It will clear up a few reasons why you may have to lock your door when you play this space gem. Bone Town. It's a game where you sleep your way to the top. You can sugarcoat this one however you like it. Either way, your mailman's gonna judge you through the window if he sees you playing it.
Fresh off the boat. Oh, sorry. I mean, new here to Bone Town. I can just tell when someone's a newbie around here.
Bonecraft. Giving a game a coat of paint to look like WoW isn't helping. Your mailman is still judging you.
Filling elf brothel entrance. Google indicates the acquisition of Hexadecker Force will open the entryways to the elf brothel.
Catherine. A story about love, good sex, and chic. This game has it all. There is no hiding the fact that this game is sexually active by any means. It's one for the den.
I don't just sleep around.
Visual novels. There are two types of visual novels. One's about story and plot, and then there are ones that are about story and plot. I think most visual novels cover the second type. The Japanese industry is flowing with erotic love stories left and right. There is honestly too many to cover, but when we get to Visual Novel Month, I'll give it a damn good try. Oculus Rift games. Now you can feel like you're really there. Technology is growing, and a new market of games are opening up, and games of that goodness want a ticket on the train. From taking your waifu out on a date to being chased by giant anime ladies.
The future, ladies and gentlemen.
One Chun Bara. The whole series is about sword fighting, bikini ninjas, and zombies. Hell, the cover says it. And with a new game on the horizon with this costume, it couldn't be any more obvious. Again, another one to hide away when your landlord stops by. Conker's Bad Fur Day. This game is legend. When you were walking through your local Blockbuster...
Oh, that's a place you could rent a thing called videos.
And you wanted to rent Mario Party or even Blast Corps, but then you spot this, Conker's Bad Fur Day. A very unusual game with very adult content, from violence, swearing, and sex scenes. Well, it was implied at least. And I don't know if you can count a bee and a flower doing it, or a cog and another cog doing it. Either way, this game is legend. Just don't tell your mum you borrowed it from Billy down the street.
Thanks, f***head. Now go off with you.
Final Fantasy X-2. The cover on its own begs the question, why did they think this game was a good idea to make? And the excuse of, Well, it's the sequel to Final Fantasy X, just with chicks. You've already dug your grave. One day I will get to this one, as it's one of my most requested games I get, but for now it'll just be another number in my library. Dead or Alive 5. Since we saw them hit the beach, it was obvious that this was going to be the selling point. I've already said my piece on how much I love the series and the sex appeal it shows without question, but when you bring the game out to play with a mate, just make sure he knows which boxing bags you're talking about. Doki Doki Majo Shimpan. A game about finding a witch among angels. Using those hands of yours, you must bring the witch to justice. Just make sure you're wearing your headphones on the train when you play this one. Facebook games. Every shady peepers click one of these fucks. Look at them staring at you with the face with promise of high hopes of dat goodness, and the next minute it's just shared the fact that you're playing this game with your friends and your grandma stops talking to you. Senran Kagura Burst. An amazing combat style game with much plot to be had. As long as you don't lend it to your little sister instead of Animal Crossing, you should be fine.
It could happen!
Wet.
You're not helping, game.
A game about a killer named Ruby, who is voiced by actress Elijah Dushku. It focuses on assassination skills using sweet moves. The name Wet comes from the term wet work, the acting of getting blood on your hands. Though, horrible bosses kinda ruin that meaning for me.
Your ad said you do wet work.
That's correct. I urinate on other men for money.
What was that? What did he say?
I think he said he pisses on dudes.
Why else do you think my ad was in the men seeking men section?
Where was it?
You fucking idiot.
Could you be dumber?
Why were you looking in the men seeking men? Looking for a man!
So now this game just seems like it's about pissing on people.
Flash games. From the depths of Newgrounds or the Google search engine, we've all played at least one sexy Flash game. Whether it was Frank's Adventure as a photographer in search of sexy photos, the Shovelware, which is the Meat and Fuck series, or the God, which is Zone. There is something for everyone. Just set your browser to incognito mode first.
So, who's the best there is again?
Only on Cartoon Network.
Magna Carta 2.
Why am I
The
not
cover has a
surprised?
way of pulling my eyes in a certain direction. And, well, the game itself during dialogue scenes seemed to have the same effect. This game for an RPG is quite a nice balance, don't get me wrong. But it's hard to hide this loot drop, if you know what I mean.
It was also built by the hero Strauss, right?
And what else?
Bayonetta 2. Bayonetta is back, but this time with shorter hair and sexier poses. For anyone who wasn't attracted to this glamazon-legged girl before, will be now. At this point, you might as well admit you're a fan if you have two of the games in the series.
Huh? You could see me.
Because we're both in Purgatorio.
Lollipop Chainsaw. Much like One Chambara, it has zombie hunting and sexy combat with just enough sass to get anyone to ask you if you're enjoying the game for more than one reason.
And on my birthday, too! Like I'm not already late enough! Gross! Stupid! I'm dead, douchebags!
The Misadventures of Tron Bonne. Tron Bonne, made by the team behind Mega Man Adventures, is a great example of putting a lead girl in with just the right balance of cute and great gameplay to get a good game. This game does a great job of hiding. Except for one little problem. This fucking vagina plate.
Seriously, what the hell is that thing?
Leisure Suit Larry 1. One of the first games that made us earn the sexiness with puzzle solving and pickup lines. Already, this game was making stores want to pull it from the shelves, so trying to avoid the shame at the counter when purchasing it was almost unavoidable. Sexy Beach 3. Well, it's Sexy Beach 3. Again, that's like buying a jar of nuts and it has a label on the side saying, warning, may contain fucking nuts. Purin to Uhura.
I know you guys played this game after I reviewed it.
If you haven't before, you will now. The weird games are where it's at. Your curiosity gets the best of you.
I caught you! But it's okay. I won't tell anyone.
Scarlet Blade. Another example of MMORPG with sex appeal. But this one goes a step further with nip slips and nudity. But you gotta work for the goods. Just remember to study, okay? The Shantae series. WayForward seriously has a way with these games. They have come a long way from the Game Boy days, and man have they brought the sexiness with them. But don't worry, it has great gameplay too. Take that from Shades. You can get away with this one if you're careful enough. Honey Pop, the bejeweled Kickstarter visual novel game that has everyone asking the question, Shades, will you review this one? One day, my Shady peeps, one day. Honey Pop is a great take on Bejeweled with a sexy spin. If only more games were daring to be different. Mobile games. The market is growing every fucking day. Seriously, I can't keep up. Shady peeps from around the globe want that game on the go, and people want to provide. But it's like doing a lucky dip in a haystack, hoping you'll find a $1 coin. I've been working on a secret to my Android game series I did over 2 years ago, so later this year I will hopefully re-explore the market and see how things have changed. But for now, I just stick to the poo games. Man, those are the shit.
Eh?
Magnum Cum Laude. I know this isn't an Owlo game, but still, the sexiness is brimming in this one. Whatever class was in the Leisure Suit Larry games is gone, so hiding this game is near impossible. Lula 3D.
I can't believe I'm talking about this fuck bucket again!
As much as I hate this game, a lot of people would have played it. And it goes to show that not only will you feel shame playing it, but the creators should feel it too. Criminal Girls, a game about punishing the girls who have sinned in order to return to their lives. Oh man, prison and chicks, what a theme. To be honest, just when Japan runs out of ideas, they reel me back in. Just don't tell anyone how you reform the girls. Akaba's Trip, Undead and Undressed. As I've done a review on this one, just go check it out. I think once you get to the stripping people naked combat, you'll understand why it's on the list. Monster Island.
It's a game where you drive an army tank into a girl's vagina. If you don't feel shame, then there's something wrong with you!
7 Sins. I don't think 5 minutes could go by where this game would seem normal. 1 minute you're making out with a chick in a change room, next minute you're pissing in a fucking pot plant, and before you know it you're punching the shit out of your co-worker. 7 Sins creates more questions than answers, I think. Senran Kagura Bon Appetit. Take some of your favourite characters from Senran and mix them into a cooking show. Then for dessert you get to lick the cream. 100% pure fan service if I've ever saw it. It oozes with it. That and the cream. And the #1 game of shame? Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball. This #1 excuse to own it was, this is a sequel to Dead or Alive, don't judge me. This is your fantasy come true. Seeing the girls of the Dead or Alive universe playing on the beach in what we can assume is gameplay, this takes the #1 spot on my list.
In conclusion, a lot of these games may make you feel shame when other people see them. It doesn't mean you should feel ashamed of yourself. Much like the audience of 50 Shades of Grey, everybody's into their own thing, as much as I despise the audience and 50 Shades of Grey. So don't take this list to heart. These games are our roots, man. We're all a bunch of shady peeps. Just make sure when you're playing these games that your mailman isn't looking through the window. I'm Shades, and remember, you get what you paid for. Good night.
Ooh, that's hot.
I don't think you guys have play chess.
I do too.
Do you?
Very much. I used to play it in high school.
Did you really? Were you part of the chess club?
Not a chess club.
Oh, super nice.
Used to play. Excuse me. I love how you're like, I don't think he ever knows how to play chess.
I don't know how to play chess.
Like he just assumed.
I don't know how to play
Just
chess.
assuming, aren't you?
I feel like I've done something bad.
You have unearthed something.